Okay, let's get into your reading, Aquarius. Okay, I feel like someone is very quiet towards you. They're not really saying a lot. They're not really doing a lot. And I want you to sit with that quiet for a second, loves. Because quiet is not always absence. Sometimes quiet is a person still working something out inside themselves before they trust their own mouth to say it. You've probably filled that silence with your own worst explanations, loves, wondering if it meant indifference, wondering if you did something wrong. Silence is a blank page. The mind writes onto it whatever it fears most. But this reading is here to hand you a different page entirely, one closer to the truth. And I want to name that specific ache, loves, the one that comes from not knowing. Not knowing is often harder than knowing something painful. At least pain has a shape you can work with. Not knowing just sits there, formless, taking up more space in your mind than it probably deserves. The Hermit. The Hermit is ruled by Virgo, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is a planet of communication, and this person is going to communicate with you. It's all I have to say. Okay, it is literally all I have to say. I know. One thing leads to another, another leads to another, another leads to another. It's exactly what's going to happen. This person is going to contact you. This person is going to message you. This person is going to come forward on their own accord without you running, begging, pleading, chasing, running around in circles over them or after them. I'm telling you, 6 of Cups, claim this, okay? My God, claim this. I want you to comment down below. They are about to reach out. They are about to reach out. Like this reading, comment that down below and make sure that you are subscribed. Energy is energy. Karma is real. In order to be able to receive, be willing to give, and watch what happens, I am telling you, this person is on the verge of wanting to reach out to you. This person clearly wants to express their feelings for you. They have strong feelings for you. They are very nostalgic in regards to things that you did with each other, like memories, places you went, things that you explored, things they found out about you. They really, really do think about you a lot. And they are literally on the verge of reaching out. Literally, they are on the verge of reaching out. I am telling you, this person is quiet right now, but they are going to come forward. And when they come forward, you will be shocked, but also pleasantly surprised. And I want to explain that nostalgia a little more, loves, because it's not a passing, casual memory. It's the specific kind that visits someone at odd hours. A song, a smell, a place they walk past. And suddenly you are right there in their mind again. That isn't something a person experiences about someone they've truly let go of. That is something a person experiences about someone they never actually stopped carrying with them. You become woven into their ordinary days, loves, whether they wanted that or not. A certain street, a certain time of year. Their mind keeps returning to you because some part of it never fully closed that door. And doors like that, loves, the ones that never fully close, tend to eventually swing back open on their own once the person on the other side of it finally stops resisting. So let's see what's going on with them, loves, because there's real depth to this. I want to walk you through. Okay, this person seems to be a high achiever. Okay, what I mean by that is they like to achieve things. They like to show that they're doing really well, that they've got their life in order. You know, they like to kind of, I don't want to say put on a show, but they like to show that they're doing well. You know, they're going here, going there. They are in good circles. Like this person likes to achieve, and they like to achieve well, and they like to show their achievements in that sense to those around them. So, you know, they feel like, okay, I'm doing well at work. I got a promotion. I'm doing this. I'm going here. I'm going there. I'm having a great time. I know these people. Like they like to have achievements And I want to genuinely explain why that matters here, loves. Because achievement for this person has partly been a shield. As long as they were busy building something visible, they didn't have to sit still with what they actually felt about you. The achieving wasn't just ambition. Some of it was avoidance, dressed up as productivity. Busy is a very convincing disguise, loves. A person can point to their calendar, their promotions, their packed schedule, and use all of it as proof that they simply didn't have time to reach out. But time was never actually the obstacle here. Readiness was. And readiness doesn't show up on anyone's calendar. Think about how many minutes it actually takes to send one honest message, loves. 30 seconds, maybe less. The delay was never about minutes. It was about the fear of what those 30 seconds might set in motion. But that fear has clearly lost, loves, because everything in this reading points to those 30 seconds finally happening. Soon. The Queen of Cups. And this is quite interesting because we've also got the Six of Wands. Now, the thing here is that they feel so connected to your sensitivity. They feel connected to your empathy. They feel connected to the fact that you're a loving, kind, caring person that is not rude, is not disrespectful, is not unkind. You're a really caring, loving, understanding person who has so much to give. You are really sweet, very genuine, very generous, very good. You're really appreciative. You have a lot to give. You are extremely kind. They feel very connected to you in regards to this. They feel like you are just so kind and so sweet. And I want you to really receive this list, loves, not skim past it. Someone took the time to actually notice every one of those qualities in you. That is not a passing impression. That is someone who has watched you closely enough, long enough, to build a full, detailed picture of who you actually are. Most people only ever see the surface of a person, loves. The version presented in passing conversations. This person has clearly seen past that surface into the actual texture of your character, the parts of you that only reveal themselves over real time. That kind of seeing takes patience, loves, and patience like that doesn't happen by accident. Someone chooses to look that closely only when they already suspect what they'll find is worth the looking. And also with the Queen of Cups, there's a very powerful energy here. You know, I read energies in tarot, not specifically genders or how you identify. I read energies, okay, so they feel like you are someone who tries your absolute best. You try to be there for people, and as they are going through life, they feel like it's very hard to find someone like you. The Two of Swords. Before, they were a bit confused, you know. They may have been hot and cold, not really doing a lot towards you, talking to you, but then not really doing a lot coming towards you, not really doing a lot, you know, and progressing towards you, but then still not really doing a lot. And it has been overwhelming, and it's been frustrating, and it's been challenging, and you don't always know where you stand, and you don't know what's going on, and it feels overwhelming. And I want to validate that fully, loves. Because the Two of Swords is one of the most exhausting cards to live inside of. Blindfolded, holding two swords, unable to move in either direction. That was never a comfortable place for either of you. But I want you to notice something important. That card is behind you now in this spread. The story has already moved past it. You were never crazy for feeling confused during that time, loves. The confusion was real because their behavior actually was inconsistent. You were reading the situation correctly. It just hadn't resolved itself yet. Now it has, and I want you to trust that instinct going forward, loves. The one that read the situation accurately even when the situation itself was murky. Your perception was never the problem. Their clarity simply hadn't caught up to it yet. But literally, things are going to improve and get so much better. You are going to find yourself feeling so much happier, so much stronger, so much more motivated. The Ace of Wands, especially with the Ace of Wands, there's a very powerful energy here of feeling happier, feeling more confident, feeling rejuvenated, especially because the Ace of Wands is also a powerful energy, which is to do with progress and them reaching out and them really connecting the dots and not being so scared, not having so much fear, and not sort of being confused, actually then being decisive. Okay, the Ace of Wands is decisive. They move on from this energy of indecision, and that allows them to progress towards you. It allows them to come towards you. It allows them to do more towards you. They feel better. They feel stronger. And this shift matters so much, loves, because indecision is its own kind of prison. A person stuck in it isn't peacefully avoiding you. They're actually suffering inside that stuckness, turning the same question over and over without ever landing anywhere. The Ace of Wands breaking through, that means the suffering finally has an exit. You may have wondered, loves, whether their silence meant they were simply fine without you, moving on easily, unaffected. The opposite was actually true. The silence was the sound of someone actively struggling, not the sound of someone who had already moved on. Fine people don't sit in indecision for this long, loves. Fine people move on cleanly and quickly. Someone stuck this long in their own head is someone who is anything but fine about losing you. They feel more connected to themselves, especially because we have here the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands. Okay, so they just feel more balanced. They feel more harmony, and they will also regret not doing things sooner, but they will also think to themselves, I had to learn. I had to find balance. I had to find peace. I had to find myself. I had to figure myself out. I had to be the strongest version of myself and not be so scared. So they will sort of tell you, I'm sorry I didn't do things sooner in terms of action, but I was really trying to figure things out and trying to get things in order. Especially, I think, financially as well. And I want you to hear the honesty in that particular kind of apology, loves, because it isn't a deflection. It isn't blaming you for anything. It's simply naming what was actually happening on their end without asking you to pretend the silence didn't hurt. Both things get to be true here. They were genuinely working on themselves. And it still cost you real time and real peace of mind. A real apology doesn't ask you to shrink your own hurt to make room for their growth, loves. It holds both at once. I grew, and you still deserved better in the meantime. That is the kind of apology worth actually receiving. Watch for that specific shape when it comes, loves. An apology that doesn't rush past your pain to get to the part where they feel better. Real accountability sits with the discomfort for a moment instead of hurrying to escape it. Like this person has been really trying to focus on opportunities regarding work. There does seem to be some traveling. There seems to be achievements, like they've been trying to gain promotions or unlock new projects in their work environment. The cups here show like awards. Or again, when you have to unlock certain positions in the work environment over time, it's that kind of energy. And they just have been so focused on their finances and trying to be good at their work and trying to, they've had this motivation to do well at work, though it's been really taking up a lot of their focus and a lot of their time, which obviously is not really an excuse in the situation. But they are going to contact you. They will come forward. And I want to be fair to both sides of this, loves. Their career mattered to them. and it was still no reason for the silence to stretch on as long as it did. You're allowed to fully accept the growth they went through while also fully acknowledging that it cost you something real. Compassion for them doesn't require erasing what you went through waiting. And I want you to know that holding both feelings at once, loves, genuine happiness that they've grown, and genuine acknowledgement of what the wait cost you, is not contradictory. It's simply honest. You're allowed to be a full, complex person about this, not just relieved and not just resentful, but both in their own proportions. Most people try to force themselves into one clean feeling, loves, fully forgiving, or fully angry. Real healing rarely works that neatly. Let yourself feel the whole, messy, complicated truth of it exactly as it actually is. There is no wrong way to feel about this, loves, as long as you're being honest with yourself about it. And I want to be honest about that, loves, because obviously work does not excuse silence towards someone you care about. But I also want you to understand what was actually happening underneath it. Someone who has been burned before, someone unsure of their own footing, will often throw themselves into the one area of life they can fully control. Work became that place for them. You became the thing they weren't ready to control because you actually mattered too much to risk getting wrong. It's a strange kind of logic, loves, avoiding the very thing you want most out of fear of losing it. But fear rarely operates logically. It protects the heart in whatever clumsy way it can, even when that protection ends up costing real time. They do have a lot of regret for not doing enough, and not being proactive enough, and not doing enough to come forward towards you. The Knight of Cups, but especially with the Knight of Cups, they have feelings for you clearly and want you in their life clearly. They're going to come forward. They are going to contact you, and they will want you to be around. The Knight of Cups rides slowly and deliberately, loves, not rushing, not reckless. This isn't an impulsive knight charging in without thought. This is someone who has actually sat with their feelings long enough to know they're real and is finally ready to bring that offer to you properly. And I want you to appreciate that pacing, loves, even though it may have felt frustrating from the outside. Impulsive love burns fast and fades faster. Deliberate love, the kind that took time to actually confirm itself, tends to hold its shape far longer once it finally arrives. You weren't given a fast, easy fling, loves. You were given something built slowly, deliberately, the kind that tends to actually last. There's real comfort in that, loves. Even if the slowness felt hard while you were living inside it, hard things built slowly, loves, tend to be the things that hold. And this one, loves, is going to hold. I promise you that the Ace of Swords, because you got the Ace of Swords. This is contact. This is communication. This is clear, decisive, honest openness in terms of communication, which is very, very powerful. And I want to sit with why the Ace of Swords specifically matters here, loves. Because swords cut through fog. They cut through all the mixed signals, the confusion, the hot and cold. Whatever comes out of their mouth this time is not going to be vague or half said. It's going to be direct. The kind of clarity you've been waiting for this entire time. No more reading between the lines, loves. No more guessing what a short reply might mean. The Ace of Swords hands you something rare in a situation like this. Plain, simple truth, spoken directly, without you having to decode a single word of it. And after everything, loves, that plain, simple truth is going to feel like the biggest relief of this whole reading. Let yourself actually feel that relief, loves, fully, without immediately searching for the catch. Some things are just genuinely good, exactly as they appear. You have earned the right to simply enjoy something good, loves, without bracing for it to fall apart. Let this be the one you don't brace for, loves. Okay, let's have a look at some message cards. Loves, I hope you don't hate me, because they know they haven't communicated much. They haven't communicated well with you, right? Like they barely have said anything and they haven't really done anything. So they're hoping that you don't get aggravated, angry, frustrated, and just, unhappy regarding everything. They're just hoping that you sort of are okay with things. And then they can come forward, progress, and do a lot more. And they're just hoping that you really don't hate them because they know they haven't really done a lot. So they do regret things in the sense that they haven't done enough. And regret like this doesn't fade quietly on its own, loves. It sits with a person. It shows up in quiet moments, driving somewhere, lying awake. A small, persistent voice saying you should have said something by now. That voice has been getting louder, and it is exactly what is pushing them toward you. Regret, left alone long enough, loves, eventually becomes louder than fear. And that is exactly the tipping point they've reached. The fear of reaching out has finally lost its grip to the fear of never having tried at all. That shift, loves, from fear of trying to fear of not trying, is the exact shift that moves someone from silence into action. And they've already made it, and they're really hoping that you don't hate them. And I want to say something about that particular fear, loves, because it tells you a lot. A person who doesn't care wouldn't worry about being hated. The fact that this specific fear is sitting so heavily on them tells you exactly how much your opinion of them still matters. Fear of being hated by someone you don't care about doesn't exist, loves. It's simply not a fear that forms. The only reason this fear is this loud in them right now is because your opinion of them carries real weight. Weight it wouldn't carry if you meant nothing to them. Let that reframe how you receive this, loves, when it finally arrives. A fear that big only exists next to a love that big. Lurking your social media accounts. They may be lurking around your social media. I'm telling you, you may get a DM also. Yeah, you may get a DM from this person, but they're lurking around. They're trying to see what you're up to, what you're doing. And I want you to picture that for a second, loves. Someone quietly checking on your life, your updates, your photos, not to judge it, but just to feel close to it. The way you feel close to someone when you can't quite let yourself reach out yet. There's something almost tender about that kind of quiet watching, loves, even though it can feel frustrating from your side of things. They're not trying to gather information to use against you. They're simply trying to stay tethered to you in the only way they've allowed themselves so far. Think about it like standing outside a door, loves. Hand almost on the handle, listening for sounds inside before finally knocking. That's exactly what this quiet checking is. Not distance, proximity, just not quite brave enough yet to knock. And you already know how that story ends, loves, because every card in this reading has already told you the knock is coming. Vulnerability, insecurities with you. So this is really, really powerful. Because this energy here, this message, is to do with the fact that they find it really hard to be vulnerable. And sometimes they feel very insecure being vulnerable. And they don't like to be vulnerable. So it makes them feel very insecure. But I feel like they're going to be ready to come forward. They're going to have that clarity. They are going to contact you from what I'm seeing. And I want you to hold both of these truths together, loves, because they don't cancel each other out. This person genuinely struggles with vulnerability at a deep level, and they are still going to choose to be vulnerable with you specifically. That combination is actually rarer and more meaningful than someone who finds vulnerability easy. Ease costs nothing. What they're about to do is going to cost them something real, and cost, in matters of the heart, loves, is often the truest measure of how much something matters. People rarely pay a real price for things they don't value. This one, they are paying for willingly because of you. Hold on to that specific fact, loves, when the reaching out finally happens. Remember what it cost them to get there, and let that context shape how you receive it, not as an excuse for the silence, loves, but as honest context for the courage it eventually took to end it. Both truths deserve their place here, loves. The hurt and the understanding side by side. You don't have to choose only one, loves. Let both live in you at once, loves, as this whole story finally comes together. And I want to honor how much courage that actually takes, loves, for someone who struggles with vulnerability at their core to choose to be vulnerable anyway, specifically with you. That isn't a small thing. That is them choosing you over their own comfort. Most people, when vulnerability feels this uncomfortable, loves, simply avoid the whole situation entirely, permanently, quietly, forever. This person isn't taking that easier road. They're doing the harder, scarier thing, and they're doing it for you specifically. Before the final message, I want to leave you with 3 small things to hold on to, loves. The first, don't reach out first to fill the silence. I know the waiting is hard, but the cards are clear that they are already moving toward you on their own. Let them close this distance themselves. And I understand the temptation to reach out yourself, loves, especially after all this waiting. But reaching first here would actually interrupt the exact momentum that's building. Their courage needs to be their own. Let it belong entirely to them. If you reach out first, loves, you take away the one thing that makes this meaningful. The fact that they chose to overcome their own fear for you. Let them have that moment fully. You'll know deep down that it was real because it came from them. Some things simply mean more, loves, when they arrive unforced. And this, loves, is going to be one of those things, a real return, loves, not a fleeting one. And you will feel that difference the moment it lands, loves. The second, when they do reach out, notice whether the words match the actions afterward. The Ace of Swords showed real clarity and honesty in the contact itself. Let that clarity be the standard you hold them to, not just in the first message, but in every message after it. Words are easy to say in a rush of emotion, loves, especially after so much silence has built up. But consistency is what actually rebuilds trust. One heartfelt message doesn't undo months of quiet. What undoes it is what they do in the days and weeks that follow it. A single beautiful message can be written by anyone in a moment of feeling, loves, showing up again the next day and the day after that. That's what actually separates a real return from a passing impulse. Watch the pattern, loves, not just the opening line. And the third, you don't owe them instant forgiveness just because they finally reach out. You get to take your time. You get to ask your own questions. Their regret is theirs to carry. Your response is entirely yours to choose. You are allowed to feel genuinely happy this is happening, loves, and still take real time to process it before deciding anything. Those two things are not in conflict. Joy and caution can sit in the same room together, and you get to let them both speak. Don't let anyone, including your own impatience, loves, rush you into a decision before you're actually ready to make it. This is your timeline now, not theirs, not anyone else's. You spent long enough waiting on their timeline, loves. This next part belongs entirely to you. Finally, it has been long enough, loves. And I want to answer one more thing before the final message, loves. Why this is reaching you now. You needed to know the full shape of this before it lands, so that when the small signs appear, a like on an old photo, a sudden reappearance in your notifications, you recognize them instead of dismissing them. Don't dismiss small signs as coincidence, loves. The proof of this often arrives in fragments before it arrives whole. A mutual friend mentioning them out of nowhere. Their name randomly crossing your mind for no clear reason. Stay curious in this season. Curiosity is exactly how you'll recognize it when it finally lands. Dismissal is a habit from the waiting years, loves. Curiosity is the habit of the chapter that's beginning. Choose curiosity every single time a small sign shows up. The waiting years are ending, loves. Let your habits start reflecting that a new chapter is asking for new habits, loves, and curiosity is the first one worth keeping. Carry it forward with you, loves, into everything that comes next. Starting with this, the star, hope confirmed, loves. Every quiet moment you spent wondering if they'd ever come back, every time you almost gave up and then didn't. The star says that hope was never foolish. It was accurate. And one more. The sun, pure, uncomplicated joy sitting underneath all of this, loves. Whichever way this unfolds from here, warmth is on the other side of it. Not confusion, not more fog, just light. And this card is the deck's way of underlining everything that came before it. Loves. You are not walking into more uncertainty. You are walking toward clarity, toward something genuinely good, toward joy that doesn't need to be decoded or defended. And I want to say one more thing before we move into the closing, loves, because I know how much you've carried through this waiting. The tired nights wondering, the moments you almost convinced yourself it was over. All of that is about to make so much more sense once you finally hear what they have to say. Every hard night gets a little lighter, loves. Once the story finally makes sense from the other side of it, and yours is about to, loves. Very, very soon. The sense will finally arrive, loves, and so will they. This is already in motion, loves. The Hermit showed the quiet before the communication. The Six of Cups showed the nostalgia pulling them back toward you. The Two of Swords showed the confusion they've already moved through. The Ace of Wands and Two of Wands showed the confidence and balance they finally found. The Knight of Cups and Ace of Swords showed the clear, honest contact coming. The Star confirmed your hope was right the whole time, and the Sun confirmed the warmth waiting on the other side of this. Stay open, loves. Let it arrive. So let me lay this all out one final time, loves, slowly so it settles into your bones. This person has been quiet, not because they stopped caring, but because they were working through their own fear, their own indecision, their own need to feel steady before they could reach for you. The Hermit confirmed the quiet reflection they've been sitting in, the necessary withdrawal before they could show up properly. The Six of Cups confirmed the nostalgia, the memories, the pull back toward you. The Queen of Cups and Six of Wands confirmed how deeply they see your sensitivity and your kindness. The Two of Swords confirmed the hot and cold confusion that came before this, a chapter now fully behind you both. The Ace of Wands confirmed the decisiveness finally replacing the fear. The Two of Wands confirmed the balance and peace they had to find first. The Knight of Cups confirmed real feelings, clearly wanting you in their life. And the Ace of Swords confirmed the contact itself, clear, honest, decisive communication finally arriving. The Star confirmed every quiet hope you carried through this waiting was accurate. And the Sun confirmed the warmth waiting for you on the other side of it. And I want you to notice, loves, how many cards in this entire spread carry light in them. The Ace of Wands lit with new confidence. The Star, the Sun, card after card pointing toward warmth, not one single dark card breaking that pattern. Readings that scatter across many different outcomes deserve real skepticism, loves. Readings that point at one clear, consistent picture, card after card, deserve your trust. The message cards showed their fear of being hated for the silence. A fear that only exists because your opinion still matters this much to them. The quiet lurking on your social media. A tender way of staying close without yet risking the words. And the vulnerability and insecurity they've been wrestling with just to finally choose you anyway. One message. Let them come to you. The clarity is already theirs. The contact is already forming. And I want to speak to the small doubting part of you one last time, loves. The one that's read this whole reading and is still whispering, but what if it doesn't happen? That voice is not wisdom. It's a pattern built from past disappointment, trying to protect you from hoping and being let down again. Just for tonight, set it aside and let what's true land without a fight. Claim this, loves. Drop a comment and say they are about to reach out, because every word of that is true. And one final thought before you go, loves. There is going to come a moment, maybe not long from now, where the two of you are actually talking again, laughing about something small, and this exact night is going to drift back to you, the night you sat here wondering if any of this was real, while they were already quietly working their way back to you. And you're going to smile at how much you worried, loves. The way we always smile at old fears once life has finally answered them. So let tonight be the last night you doubt it. The return is real. The timing is already moving. This is not a someday reading, loves. This is a weeks, not years kind of reading. Keep your eyes open starting now, tonight even, because energy like this doesn't wait around politely. It arrives, and you will finally know, save this. Come back and tell me when it happens. If this resonated, please give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment, and tell me what hit hardest. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Take care of yourself. Bye, loves.